also known as the most famous woman in the world. And today, I've got something pretty intense, pretty transformative for you. Today, I'm going to deep dive into the world of a man who is no stranger to pushing the boundaries of mental and physical capabilities, the one and only Navy SEAL, ultra endurance athlete, and author David Goggins. So, let's see what we can learn in order to change ourselves so that we may change our life. Now, let me tell you a little bit about David Goggins, or Goggins, as he refers to himself when he's really kicking ass. So, David Goggins, if you guys have never heard of him, I highly recommend at least watching a few YouTube videos of him, or at least just reading a couple of articles. Goggins is a remarkable individual who has achieved a great deal throughout his life. Let's just look at 5 of his most impressive achievements. So, first of all, Goggins is a Navy SEAL, but not only is he a Navy SEAL, he's also a Army Ranger, and he completed the U.S. Army Ranger School in addition to being a SEAL. And if you guys don't know what those two things mean, I'm not going to go into the craziness of how incredibly difficult it is to graduate from either of those trainings, but to do both is absolutely unbelievable. But Goggins completed the notoriously grueling Navy SEAL training, also known as Basic Underwater Demolition, or BUDS training, not just once, but 3 times. So this is what's also referred to as Hell Week. So he did this 3 times. He also achieved the world record for pull-ups on January 20th, 2013. He got the Guinness Book of World Records for the most pull-ups done in 24 hours. He completed an astonishing 4,030 pull-ups in 17 hours. And I've seen the pictures of his hands being completely ripped up and ripped open. Him attempting to do that. I believe he attempted it once and just literally ripped the flesh off of his hands, and then did it again, and then got the Guinness Book of World Records. So, yes, you can look that up. It's pretty nuts. Okay, number 3, Goggins has completed over 60 ultra endurance events, often placing in the top 5. This includes prestigious and grueling races like the Badwater 135, which is a 135-mile continuous race through Death Valley in the height of summer, where he placed 5th. And he is also now, after all of this, a motivational speaker and best-selling author. After retiring from military service, Goggins has used his experiences to inspire others, both as a motivational speaker and as the author of the best-selling book, Can't Hurt Me, which I read and adored. And he actually reads it himself on the audiobook, and I highly recommend I highly recommend getting that book on audiobook. And it always helps when the author is actually reading their own words, right? There's something really special that happens when the author reads their own words. And in that book, he shares his life story and his philosophy of self-discipline, mental toughness, and hard work. So David Goggins is renowned for his incredible and inspirational life journey, his no-nonsense approach to self-improvement, and his unbreakable mindset. And one of the key areas he emphasizes is mastering the control of our adrenals. And this is what I really wanted to get around to today, guys, because this is key when we're going through the ups and, really more importantly, the downs of life. In simple terms, we want to learn how to master our body's stress response, most importantly because we don't make good decisions when we're in a fight or flight state of mind or state of being. And Goggins has taken himself through many, 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 many extreme circumstances, and he has mastered his own mind and body in the process, and the results of his mastery of himself are clearly obvious. Someone who doesn't have control of their own emotions and mind would not be able to do what he has done. I would argue that 99.5 or more percent of humans would not be able to do what he did. And one of the things he calls this is, or one of the recommendations he gives in order to achieve incredible things is to embrace the suck. And how much that hits me, how much that hits home, to just embrace the suck, to stop running and hiding and crying and being a victim and avoiding through drugs and alcohol and entertainment and scrolling, to stop avoiding the obstacles in your life, but to face them head on and to embrace the suck, so that you can actually demolish the obstacles in front of you instead of just kicking the can down the road. So, to understand Goggins' perspective, we first have to understand what adrenals are and what they do. So, adrenals are, or you might have heard them as adrenal glands, adrenaline. But the adrenal glands are two small glands that actually sit on top of your kidneys. They are part of your endocrine system, and they produce a variety of hormones, but they're best known for secreting adrenaline, which is released in response to stress, so our fight or flight response. Adrenaline is also known as epinephrine. And back when humanity was evolving on the African savanna millennia ago, it was extremely beneficial for us to have a very fast and effective fight or flight response. But see, the problem is that we are no longer humans living on the African savanna in prehistory. We're modern humans, and we have an evolutionary mismatch as to the requirements of our actual environment and our, you could call it, prehistoric hormonal system, and our prehistoric brain and our prehistoric fight or flight response. So here's an example of our prehistoric hormone cascade and adrenal glands working in opposition to what we actually need to do as modern humans. So here's an example. Let's say you just lost your job and you don't have any savings, and you have your rent due in 2 weeks, and now you only have $50 in your bank account, and that's it, and no job and no income. So many of us have a fight or flight response that happens in our body. Actually, all of us do. But many of us will subconsciously go for the flight response. And see, the problem with the flight response, or in other words, avoidance, to avoid the problem, is that in our modern world, it doesn't help to avoid our problems. So if you, for example, like I just said, if let's say you're laid off from your job and you only have $50 in your bank account and your rent is due in 2 weeks, well, if you avoid this situation and you decide that you're so stressed that you need to drink, you need to go out with your friends and have a glass of wine or five, or you start watching TV, scrolling through social media, sleeping, crying, who knows what you're doing, or maybe just paying attention to other people and going and partying and avoiding the actual problem, you're only going to compound matters, right? You're only going to make the situation worse. So, sometimes an example in that scenario would be, instead of getting laid off and immediately that day, since, well, you're not working, right? You're not working 8 hours that day. Instead, of immediately going home and starting to, get a meal, eat some lunch, and then immediately start working on your resume and start getting your references together and your cover letter and your resume and updating everything and really going through it and posting your resume on job boards and going through every job site and looking up and, going through different companies' websites and start posting and submitting applications. Instead of doing that immediately, a lot of us will hide. A lot of us might go home and go to sleep. I know that I've been I've definitely done that in my life, where I needed to act, but instead of acting, I wanted to sleep. And I mean sleep, like 12, 13, 14, 20 hours, right? So this is called an evolutionary mismatch, where our prehistoric reaction is actually not the best response to our modern dilemmas. So this is where advice from this badass Navy SEAL Army Ranger Goggins comes in. So to master and control your adrenals, the process begins with a simple concept, which is welcoming discomfort mentally. And this isn't about putting yourself in harm's way intentionally, but it is about accepting challenges, accepting discomfort, and realizing that comfort zones can be limiting. Goggins suggests that by regularly putting ourselves in uncomfortable situations, or by simply not avoiding our problems, we can train our minds and bodies to better manage our adrenaline response and therefore make better decisions. An example of this would be something like cold showers, which is a common practice of David Goggins. And this can be a powerful tool to build the muscle of discipline. And just like you can build your muscles in your body, you can build the muscle of discipline. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And this controlled exposure to stress helps to build mental toughness and physical resilience. It's all about conditioning your mind and your body to handle the stress well. And in turn, you're going to better manage the release of epinephrine, or better known as adrenaline. So let's talk about embracing the suck, which is a quintessential Goggins quote. This just means that he believes that when life puts you in challenging situations, often, which is what he refers to as being in hell, that's when your true character is revealed. And to him, thriving in these moments, not just surviving or avoiding them, is the key to unlocking your potential. And this concept comes really down to a mindset. Goggins employs other strategies. One of them he calls the cookie jar method. And this method involves reaching back into your personal history and recalling any time you had a victory or a hardship that you've overcome. So anytime you're going through hell, look back in Mama's cookie jar, right? And just remember something that you got through. And remember that you're still you, and you can get through the next thing. And this can act as fuel, reminding you that what you've been through, you can go through it again. You can get through it. You will get through it. And going through and thriving through challenging times helps us only come out that much stronger. And who doesn't want to be stronger, right? I remember when that Kanye West, or excuse me, when that Yay song came out. That don't kill me can only make me stronger. I wish that you would hurry up now, 'cause I can't wait much longer, right? I used to think, yeah, okay. And of course, this is an old saying, right? Ye didn't just make it up, but that which doesn't kill me only makes me stronger. And I just remember for so many years and decades thinking, this is stupid. This is just a dumb concept, like, I don't, like, what's the point of being stronger? Like, I guess I couldn't articulate or materialize, or I just didn't have a good concept of what, quote unquote, being stronger meant or how that could benefit you. I didn't have a concept of how that could play out in the real world or why it would benefit you. I'm like, well, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. Like, how do you know that? Like, maybe it'll just kill you, right? Like, sucky things just suck. There was a time when I thought, sucky things just suck. Like, there's no benefit to it. It sucks, and that's it. Like, okay, you came out stronger. I used to be like, okay, that's just the crap that people tell you to try to make you feel better when you're going through shit, right? Like, oh, you're gonna come out stronger. Like, dude, I don't care. Like, no, it just fucking sucks. And honestly, sometimes things just do suck, right? But it's this. Why would you not want to be stronger and better than you are now? Why wouldn't you want to be stronger? Like, if somebody said, hey, I'm a genie, and just because I'm going to make it so that you can lift double what you can lift right now. Just things, like maybe not even weights, like not even in the gym, just like, in life, you're going to look better and you're going to be able to lift twice as much as you are right now. Or maybe, you're going to look the same and you're just going to be able to lift twice as much, like moving forward in life. Like, why would you not want that? Like, could you imagine if you had some type of superhuman strength? I'm about 100 and I'm about 100 and maybe 17 pounds right now. I mean, could you imagine if you saw a little petite woman, 115 pounds, 100 pounds, lifting like 350 pounds? Like, it would just be like so incredible, right? Like, what in the world? And so I truly believe that you can flex your mental muscles just like you can flex your physical muscles. You can become mentally stronger. And there are people in the world who are mentally superhuman. And so the only way to get there is to go through it. You can't go around it. You have to go through it. And so, to truly adopt the Goggins way, start by introducing controlled discomfort into your life, such as cold showers, such as getting up at the same time every day, such as forcing yourself to stop scrolling on social media, such as going to sleep every single day at the same time, even when you're excited about something and you want to stay awake, or you quote unquote can't sleep and you want to watch a movie or whatever. And monitor your response and focus on calming your mind and body, because those are little stresses and it's causing you to force yourself and to train yourself of, how do I control my body? How do I control my mind? Then you can create your own cookie jar. You can write this down in a journal and write down a list, a mental database of all of your past victories to give you a confidence boost whenever you need it. Whenever the times get tough, you can look back and remember what you've already done, what you've already overcome, and things that you've lived through and thrived through and survived through. And finally, always remember Goggins' mantra, which is, if it doesn't suck, we don't do it. Because according to Goggins, the path to growth is paved with discomfort. It's made in discomfort. In other words, this is my idea, The reason why most people aren't very successful is because in order to become successful, we must do what other people do not want to do. We need to do things that other people don't want to do. And what no one else wants to do are things that are hard. So, do hard things and embrace the suck. And remember to like and subscribe. Go to millionairementormethod.com. Remember, this is a mentor and mentee community, and we are looking for you. So please go to the website and sign up for free to become a mentor for someone who needs you, or to get a mentor if you need one. And as always, remember, each one teach one.
The information provided in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice, investment advice, or medical advice. The host is not a financial advisor nor a medical doctor or licensed therapist. Any financial or medical decisions made based on the information in this podcast are made at the listener's own risk. It is recommended that listeners consult with licensed professionals such as CPAs, financial advisors, and licensed physicians before making any investment or medical decisions. The host and creators of this podcast accept no responsibility or liability for any loss or damages incurred as a result of the information provided in this podcast.